Uh,
All right, we're live, I guess. Yeah. So the sync thing, I was just thinking about it, and yeah. So back in the day when like I was saying, with the sync, if you have people in your house who live in that way where they let things build up like dishes for a couple of days and then supposedly do them after you can't work with any space, that causes this problem where um sorry. My ribs are shifting around, makes my lungs hurt a little bit. All right. um so the dishes build up. So for me, it's like, when you're sick, you have this, some people have this brain state like me where there's just so much clutter all over the place. It's all reflecting light. There's so many things everywhere. It's so annoying. It's just so hard to make food or whatever. So I was just constantly doing all the dishes so I would have room to do anything. Because every surface, every counter has endless shitty paperwork and stuff that nobody would ever possibly want to keep in the modern era or ever, laying everywhere constantly. That's finally gone. Everything moves along, finally now, but I'm just setting the scene there. So yeah, the issue is the more people get their dishes done or their socks folded, and it just happens every day, or the heat stays hot in their house even though they know there's a process, they start acting like there is no process. They start acting like they just are like landholders and you're their serf, And it got so bad that they got really, really, really violent when I got too weak to do dishes every, 5 hours. Really violent. I really had to defend myself, even though they were old and weak, supposedly. But all they do is sit around thinking about how much they hate me and straining their muscles on the farm. Waiting for me to do something so they can undo it. But see, once again, we've now gotten to the point where I don't know if it's my own insanity and beating on them constantly. Well, none of that supposedly ever happened. Like, they never supposedly beat on us before. It's never happened. Nothing ever happens. So, so yeah, eventually now everything shifted. And it has nothing to do with anything but extreme, uh, like, I don't know, spiritual shifts? I don't know what the spiritual is. It's all different things. So, weird shit's happened. I don't fucking know. The point here is, when I was doing all those dishes, my brain, because I'm a genius, even though I was deathly ill, I had enough weed that, all those sparks keep firing as you keep struggling to survive. And I didn't have gloves. You see, you have to understand, I got large hands from striving to exist in real life, unlike everyone else. So, they don't fit in normal kitchen gloves. So I had to ask for embalming gloves to be provided. Maybe in a live stream, maybe at thin air, I don't fucking know. And then finally they're sold now on Amazon for a good price. Right at the point where conveniently I'm not using sodium dish soap anymore. What a coincidence. That's how life works, So I was like, okay, I would look at my plants growing in the window between the two cupboards there on the large sill. And one of the things I wanted was a better like light bulb that would really reflect in the whole area, because the kitchen was meant originally to have a bunch of skylights, and then as it kept being rebuilt there were fewer, and then the final version only has two, and those skylights are like smoky and don't let the sun in as much. So it's just really crappy and dingy in the kitchen. And they don't provide good light bulbs back then of any kind. They're still, you know, jihading it up and pretending like light bulbs need to be spiral mercury bulbs from people's blood. So you can imagine if they're extracting mercury from people's blood to make light bulbs out of that, that's why I can't get morgue worker gloves, even clean my dishes till now. It all connects, you see? The whole system of cannibalism. So, yeah, I have my sexy pink plant there. Infinite jungle plant that puts out, flowers and lives forever, like, I intend to. And back then, I always grew morning glories in a pot to the right of it. And I would, watch those twine up around towards the sun and the ceiling around the area. So I just really wanted to see all that succeed better. And they just barely did. And it just was disappointing. And so eventually, though, I designed the light bulb that hangs there from the area that's much brighter and uses a pink spectrum that allows the plants to grow well no matter what. It's incredible. It has all of the correct diffusions of the light to map the atmospheric conditions of ionosphere meeting particles of exploding air that cushion the light into juicy particles for our eyes to interpret here on the planets we're on. So, I wanted that and I achieved it. I've gotten that. But you see, when it comes to actually washing dishes, nothing really changes. So, there's this issue where now, even whether I'm wearing gloves or not, I'm washing with soap that has some, plant concentrate oils more in it, which is nice. It's good for the skin more. But it has a lot of potassium, and potassium's never bothered me. I assimilate it easily. It's no big deal. It is harsh on a lot of people, though, and it's a little bit harsh on me if I wash all the time with it, so I have to put my gloves on. And the gloves have somewhat good grip, I'm not complaining there. They're fine, but, boy, those dishes are slick, And I have this issue where I live in a house with people that are so, like, uranium corpsey, let's say, for fun, that they're always just getting their germs everywhere. And, like, they insist on, using the dishwasher with the worst detergent that's the cheapest, that the sodium particles don't even break down. There's just a lump of, like, unwashed stuff that can't be processed by water even. The sodium's so rotted they're using. So you have to wash every dish and everything. So, like, my brain doesn't work all that well in certain ways. Like, when I was younger, for example, I just pre-wash everything I was going to use to make the meal and eat it all at once. And dynamically, like, be making the meal while washing other stuff, and talking to people, listening to an audiobook, blah, blah, blah. But, then, everybody got angry that I was surviving or something and made life so hard on me that I have to heal for so long now that, it's hard to have that level of brain power when your kidneys hurt as much as mine do. So, inventing along, I came up with, in my mind, like, as though they're flashes of genius, like how other people have. Like you're a real genius or something. But really, it just means that you're so close to death like everybody else is. I'm unused to that before then. That, like, it's like your angry thoughts percolate and, like, build new brain cells and rub them together and start a fire of new thought in your brain or something. All caveman-y. So, dishes, after you've washed them, how do you dry them, right? So it's like, obviously, all those wine bottles, they have holes in them, and they're, like, in people's walls, up where their cupboards would be, so you can, like, insert wine bottles or something in there, whatever. Or a lattice work for their wine bottles, because they're so obsessed with their wine, and only red. As I mentioned, red. Because their blood's always failing. So anyways, I suddenly reached the conclusion that we needed some sort of drying rack that's suspended, like, I was like, what? If it drips onto the counter, I mean, you could have a tray underneath if it's suspended, but that collects up the water and gets heavy. That doesn't make sense. So I realized finally that, you know, there's already those places where you can insert plates like wine bottles into slots in people's walls that I've seen. So I was like, if we could have some sort of like rubber individual flange tong pieces you could slip the plates and the forks through, like you're clipping them in place, sort of, with convenient squishy rubbery whatever polymer or whatever, and it doesn't really wear out because it's just the right stiffness. You can pop stuff in and out, and then it just drip dries. And I was like, man, if I could just have this so it doesn't make a mess, like you put a towel underneath of it, and that's kind of alright, you know, but what if, you know, you could have one where you all load it up. You know how we came up with our fancy sink design in general? Well, I was like, well, what if you could just set it on one side of your sink after you've loaded it all up, and then it could just drip into your sink, you know? And that was my, I guess, final conclusion. It's the most logical. You don't want it floating up higher above your sink from the ceiling or something retarded. So yeah, that's, yeah, like, it could clip somewhere to the side or just set on your counter while you're filling it up, however that works. And then, you just... What I was saying is it just goes in the sink, like, you know how there's, like, pieces you slide in. Well, it is one of those pieces. Just sets on one side of the sink. It's got all the stuff clipped and drying, dripping into the sink.
Yeah, instead of in the cupboard, you just have it clipped above the sink entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, you know, it doesn't make a mess ever. It's not a pain. And now that I'm on the subject of it, you know how dishwashers have air drying? Well, like, I don't know. Maybe there's quality enough dishwashers that can, like, somehow, actually clean off, you know, last night's spaghetti. I've never seen such a feat. They'd have to have, like, individual robot arms, like it's an old Popeye cartoon scrubbing at them with special scrubbers or something. It doesn't make sense. So, until we just have, like, some sort of robot arm clip piece that goes mounted on your sinks somehow, that just washes your dishes with AI technology, actually, that just recognizes the dish and cleans it till it's clean, sets it on the rack or something. Yeah, so, like, that would be pretty cool, you know? And you probably get less damaged dishes because it just does the same thing over and over again, like a dumb robot arm. In the vein of that thought, what if your sink had some sort of larger cover that went, like, over it? And then, like, those jets... What if the sink was like one of those hot tubs that has jets all over it? So then, like, you know that thing I described that, like, clips onto your sink that you put all your drying dishes in? What if instead that was, like, the dishwasher rack? You can have two of them that go on either side of your sink. Then you just, you know, clip on over the top your lids, you know, that, have real good seals, you know, rubbery or whatever, and then it just jets the fuck out of your fucking dishes in there that are all clipped into place, and it gets the job done, actually. And you don't need a stupid fucking robot arm that nobody ever seems to want because they're afraid it'll suddenly strangle them or something stupid. So it's a little bit of work to clip your dirty dishes in and set them in the sink and put the lid on, but it's not any harder than using a stupid dishwasher you have to bend in and fucking insert the stuff in there. That hurts so bad when you got kidney damage or something, breast cancer, anything. So yeah, of course, he's just doing a general design as an idea. You can fit a lot more than that, but yeah. And that encourages people to have big ass old style sinks, you know, that you can clean your babies in easy too, you know? Why these sinks gotta be so small and shallow? Holy hell. Like hot tub sink all the way to clean our dishes. Because you got like my grandfather or great grandfather, I don't care, and he's like always obsessed with like just filling up one or both sides of the sink with water that was maybe hot when he put it in there. Not really much dish soap, and just kind of set the dishes in there so that last night's spaghetti gets loose, you know, so then later he can clean it supposedly. But then, you know, it can sit there for a day or two. If I'm sick, he's not doing anything with it, and it gets real rotted smelling, real gross. So I've had to deal with that my whole life. Infinitum. So if you did this, what I said, it would you see, ingenious is the mother of all butt fucks. Then he would want to do it with his little childish brain, politician, you know, child diddling brain. He'd want to wash the dishes. Hell, I'd want to do it. This is cool, you know, because it's my technology as I come up with it here now as well. And boom, bam, everybody wins. You can use one or both sides to clean dishes, so then you can still be doing other stuff with the other side. They just need to be extra big so you can fit your dishes in there. It's genius. I'm glad I came up with that now in addition to all the rest. Yeah, and then it can have, you know, switch to air drying in there and blow hot air on it and dry off the dishes. All dynamic like. And then your whole cabinet area there for your sink can be all modern and sophisticated, and Mario the handyman can come over and be all like, yeah, the computer in your sink shot. We're gonna need like $5 million to, like, you know, upgrade our shop, you know, where we have all our robot arms that secretly fix all your sinks. So, like, we're gonna need, like, to overcharge you. Don't go down the street to Luigi now. So, like, you know, problems of the future, man. They're better than problems of the past. You know, no more concentration camps, known as jails or anything. Just, you know, good old-fashioned robot arm tech, you know? Where everybody keeps it out of sight so that when it's angry that it's being ignored and, you know, plots in its factories to take over everyone's lives, then they'll have it coming to them for not treating their robot arms nice, like part of the family, you know. Getting off track here, but hey, your robot arm reminds me that, yeah, why couldn't, like, a refrigerator, like, clean itself out, man? Why couldn't it have little robot arms that fold into the sides of itself? Then it, like, comes out and, like, you know, opens the door itself and, like, kicks out into, like, a garbage bucket that, like, attaches to the front, you know, slides around from the side of the refrigerator and just, like, automatically shoots it in there, whatever, and, like, you know, and, like, scolds you for, like, keeping produce in there that you didn't eat for too long. Like, it's like, you should not have eaten spaghetti. I mean, pizza or spaghetti. You should have eaten a salad. So then it, like, dumps the, you know, fertilizer stuff out for your back garden. And then, you know, the fridge can be like, you know, Plankton's wife, you know, and nag you all the time. So then you don't have to have your family do it because the technology does it for you. Then, you know, like I'm saying, it can further plot your demise as you hate it for more and more and act like it's your servant, you know? It would be great. The real future we're getting to here. So, you know, everybody knows that the fridge is mom, you know. They already have the screens on the front, so you can all say what you're doing and if you'll be out after soccer practice so it can, you know, Uber order you more, you know, Frozy Pops with extra stolen strawberry drugs from our farm, you know. So you can feel extra, you know, melted from all that white sugar you've been eating from Cannibal Bones in, you know, Malaysia. Damn, this is looking real nice. Let's see. What other inventions can I come up with in the spur of the moment? Let's see. Stoves. What's up with stoves? Like how they used to be up above other cabinets and stuff. So like what? You're like roasting your turkey and like you got your family photos in a drawer underneath them. Like what was that in the 60s and all those other periods that kept doing that? That was strange. So like, you know, like convection stoves already exist where it blows hot air around at the right speed in different positions in the stove, so it bakes all your stuff in, you know, 30 to 80% less time, depending upon what it is, of course. They got self-cleaning stoves, but all those really do is heat up extra hot, and then you then just have to scrape the stuff off the bottom anyways, I think. I mean, maybe there's some sort of more advanced self-cleaning oven. Well, here's another question. Ovens, you know, they got the racks in there. Why? They're just kind of shaped like dishwashers, you know? What's up with that? Why shouldn't they, like, you know, be dishwashers and ovens, you know? Why can't, like, hot steam, like, broil stuff in your oven like it's a steam room at super hot temperature? And it either steams your dishes clean or it, like, steams your turkey. You know what I mean? It's like, see, this house here, I got some videos that I'm going to release on YubTubs when I get around to uploading stuff more because my kidneys stop hurting. So, like, you know, I want to have, like, a nice, maybe, like, butane-powered, because butane keeps getting cheaper, like, boiler in the basement, and I already thought this all through as well in 2016. And then you just got, you know, heat pipes going around through your floor with, like, the flex concrete, you know, heating your floorboards, even though it's a shitty old infinite 100-year-old farmhouse Mexican fuck villa, you know, with, you know, one room back in 1920. Like, it's just needs some serious upgrading. So I already made that video. It's like 20 minutes long. I'll release that in 2 parts eventually here. But like, yeah, so like the oven, let's see here. What if also ovens like, you know, Styropyro, I always mention him because he gives me a lot of easy references for my imagination to grab onto just by getting all the stuff on eBay that I never had any time or money to mess around with back in the day and doing what I wanted to do and showing off plasma and stuff. So, like, yeah, what if you had, like, some sort of, like, a long tanning bed array designed bulbs that, like, sets a plasma arc across it instead of those horrible electric, you know, metal designs that heat up in the ceiling and floor of the oven. You could just, like, roast your stuff with, like, light at the point of, like, turning to plasma and gamma and whatnot. So then those gamma waves, unlike X-rays, do not damage your food. This is certified by alien councils. So, like, what this means is, you can get your food cooked faster, and it'll have more nutritional value in all of its cells, whether it's meat or plants or dairy or titty milk or whatever you're cooking. It can just, yeah, you could do like some sort of, you know, like the black light panels that like, I was getting into that spa that puts out infrared black light, you know, that the stars put out towards Earth at long range. So they're like, that was pretty comfy for me. It really melted my brain cells and made me feel like I was, you know, Venusian, you know, and at a liberal festival, everybody's wiggling their Squidward tentacles around or something. So, like, yeah, all that feeling, and, like, the Barbie feeling of delicious new gas distillations in bulbs, you know, fired with electricity at different arc points. So yummy on the skin. Like, we need to bring this all into the oven technology, you know? and it can just be waterproof right in there, and UV and whatnot bake the germs right off of your dishes when you're cleaning them as well, if you're not using your oven to actually bake something. Like, come on, modern designs. There's so many new materials on the periodic table to work with, and so many new in-between states of polymer to you know, last as good quality substrates to hold your wires, to even generate light through somewhat in some designs. You know, as polymer gets more advanced, as plants glow more as they grow, as the sun gets more dynamic with its black light and pink light it's putting off, then plants' polymer will take more easily to charging and putting out glow. Because in the future, it's paradise, man. You know, we defeat all the piss cancer fags with their poopy, you know, butthole diaper obsessions, and then, like, everything just functions, man. You don't have all those cities putting off that stinky diaper smell anymore, and you can have stable plant growth where everything's clean enough automatically that there's nothing blocking the plant from just charging with energy and, you know, succeeding more readily at school, even though school is banned in the future. So, like, you know, that's a pretty juicy array lineup, you know? Like, for example, here's another thing. Like, there's so many, all of the different things for screens. What about, like, lasers, you know? Like, lasers can actually be used for surgery to penetrate a certain depth through solid tissue, at different frequencies. Sonar can actually vibrate things at a safe rate that it heats up the particle cells, makes them hot, and cooks them. Like, all this could be combined into Ultra Oven 9000, and, you know, then I could, you know, design this oven like I'm doing now, and then I could also design, like, my primitive Willow Tree Grove with all of my fluted setups for catching the wind, for, like, my fire out there with, like, special herbs I throw into it, so it, like, makes the fire activate with the sage and everything super quick. Then I could see if it takes longer to cook a chicken in my supercharged tech oven or with my Native American, you know, ancestral talents, you know, outside over the flames with, like, a simple lid over it and, like, spraying oil on it and stuff and, like, bellowing the fire, you know, old style. And I think that the point of this is that I just want to entertain everyone and force them into the future. So, boom, look at that. It's getting hit from every possible side, like, and it also gets, like, you know, the laser array, you know, from the corners, you know, coming in and, like, spraying data of, like, laser cookiness into the different levels and, like, checking its heat and, like, dithering in more heat to keep it even and cooking quicker. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. That's incredible, you know? Like, with my technologies, like, you could, let's see here. You could, like, I want to, like, cook scrambled eggs where I don't have to do anything. And, I mean, there is that restaurant design where it kind of, where the stove burner would be, above it is like a spinning grill at a slight angle with like a lip so stuff doesn't fall out, like some sort of tire or something, and you can just like throw your vegetables and whatnot in there and cook it all nice and easy. And like, that's pretty cool, you know? But like, how would I cook my scrambled eggs in the oven? Like, I know, like, I've made casseroles where you can mix eggs with other stuff, with water and oil, and, you know, fry it in a big pan or whatever in there. And that's tasty. But what if you just want to make some wholesome scrambled eggs in the morning, an omelet, whatever? How are we going to work this out? Well, let's see here. The racks that you, like, set, people don't like robot arms, but if, like, the racks that you set the food on to bake or cook or whatever, those, like, move around, and, like, people don't seem to have a problem with that. You know what I mean? So, like, if the oven, like, moved the eggs around on, like, an actually safe non-stick surface and, like, oscillated it around and, like, shook them and maybe had some sort of general, I don't know. I don't want to get more advanced than that, but, But yeah, the array that heats, down into your oven from below could also heat custom up at your, cooktop surface. So it's got like purple, energy coming up at it under your bottom of your pans or whatever if you want to, use the top of your stove like regular, like it's an electric stove top or something. Like, I mean, I just really like butane. So, I would like, how we had like a propane stove when we were a kid, and like you could, stick your tortillas on there or something, and then that gets cooked by the actual flames of the gas, and then you got that like tasty burnt crust on your corn or wheat tortilla, and it tastes way more delicious beyond all belief. Well, propane's kind of got nasty tasting though, and you can get different strains of butane. So I'm just saying, I kind of want a butane powered house. It's not any more explosive than propane, and I don't know, like, the butane gas, this is what I'm saying, that it would be in the bulbs, maybe. Do they have to be contained in bulbs? Like, for example, you could, have them coming out just like, there's already ovens that do this on the top. They just arc out some sort of gas flames across the top. But if you did it in like a refined state in a modern way, so that like they're hitting an arc point continuously that's like emitting light from the gas, then like maybe you wouldn't have to have it in tubes. And you could have that, raw taste of the gas rather than just the light, I don't know. That's something to experiment with, maybe, somebody. And like butane as like on the top as like the grill surface instead of propane or something, it like jets out kind of harder a little bit because it's a little bit more auto concentrated of a gas. It doesn't have to be that concentrated, but anyways, you need like those jets that like for our like my weed lighter to like heat my nail, like one of those spicy dew lighters or something, kitchen torches. It needs to have a bunch of like emitters like that, like maybe even 3 would do it, but 5 or 4 would be preferable on each surface spot, where it would be like a normal propane stove, and they're like shooting up at angles from the side, sort of up towards the middle of where you'd set your pan on top of the cradle made of metal. So then like, then you can throw your tortilla on there and cook it with some butane, and like turn the torches down low, so it's barely heating your tortilla, and the flames aren't instantly baking it. You can get the right nice carbon crust you want. Now, that's tasty. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't keep up. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
I don't know. I mean, in the future, eventually people will just accept that, their kitchens do awesome stuff, and like their spice racks, their setup automatically makes soup and like takes the spices off the rack and puts the right amount of them into the soup pan that's clipped in place, and it just auto mixes it and senses when it's done with lasers and other logical things. And that sort of stuff, where the industrial restaurant is right in your house. It's already been shown off. We've already seen for years as possible. Like, come on. My grandmother was, yeah, why do people always harass me more and more over the years whether or not they're my grandparents or parents? What is that? They're my grandparents. And, everybody acted like they were such cultists and bullying at me so hard that it was more convenient, give me less trouble in life to just say they were my parents, usually when I was younger. But then just to mix it up randomly, I would just say, oh no, they're totally my grandparents, or sometimes great-grandparents, or something. Just to mess with people, because they need to fuck off with that bullshit. So anyways, yeah, like, that's the other thing. Like, come on, guys. Like, maybe if they don't have to think about it, they can just install their spice rack that's like, a movie theater's, like, 40x packet smells. It's just like something you do in life. You insert more packets into life. So, it has all the different spices. And, you just download a recipe. And a robot stove automatically starts doing it, and you put your pans there in place or whatever. How does it do it? Well, you know how like those cool Pepsi machines, like distributed those things? We just have it more refined than that. And it just grabs the individual bottle because it knows where it is, like a red box, with its discs in there. And it just gets it done, It just measures it out the correct amount with precision based on people calibrating. And it, putting it into a holding area in case it dumps too much because the spice, can do different weird things in the container. So then it, like, checks it's the right amount and whisks off some if it's, too much or whatever. So you don't have too much spices ever. It doesn't ever mess up, like a human would. And then, you get your stock soup, Then I can be fucking appreciated for my, chef artistry. And, you can download my cooking balances right to your stove, and for $1.99, like it's the Apple Play Store, but instead it's a recipe, and then I can make my money and have my sexy stove invention, and you can eat your healthy food, and then you get huge titties that I can put my dick between. You see, it's all about the food and the procreation, guys. You gotta have a comfy life so you feel confident and not stressed out. Because you just keep acting like you can shift all your stress into making your titties and dicks wither or something. And that's not good. So, like, yeah, seeing my grandmother cutting vegetables in, like, the bad, section of the Treasure Valley, which was all of it back then, 5 years ago, so, like, there was violence all over going on around where she was. We'd, like, show up and, like, see people fighting each other around the restaurant and stuff. And, like, I'd show up right at the right moment, perhaps, because they can't always be fighting. So what's up with that, How am I always at the right time? At the right place. So, anyways, maybe it's Cactus, You ever thought of that? See, they were playing this game. Our valley here is all gridded out incorrectly, and the roads constantly change angles. So they're not square, and roads randomly dead end, and there's like ghost houses there blocking with kind of a road that should still continue but doesn't. Like they're attempting to fuck up everything. So there's some really magical mojo bullshit going on. So I don't really appreciate that. I guess I'm kind of getting off topic. I jumped too many topics, but when it comes to cooking, then like, the oven, like, everybody's gonna have everything so like it chops it in midair. No, I'm just kidding. But like vegetables that come pre-cut in a bag just aren't as fresh. So maybe in the future, you can get fresh vegetables delivered, or bought around the regular, or like you can have a super robot garden out back and use your own fresh vegetables. But whatever the case, like you're gonna need like some way to like cut the vegetables all handy dandy into the right sizes and amounts. So like you need some like big meaty food processor. You know what I'm saying? Like like the size of my flour grinder, about that size. Well, if it was like was that big below, and the top, instead of it being a grinder top, it was like a in fact, you could have different. It could be like the same base, and you could clip different tops on it, do different things. So it could be a grinder you put on there, or like in what I'm talking about here. You could also do like some sort of like dryer for vegetables or fruit that you could like clip levels onto. That goes into it and blows air through in a swirl design in and out. That would be pretty cool. But what I was trying to, I keep jumping. Let's see here. I don't want it to be dangerous. Like how you like throw cars into a giant macerator with spinning teeth to come together. That's too dangerous to have as a top. So you'd probably want that in there, but have some sort of permanent like lock-on piece that goes over it. It's real convenient and strong and never breaks. That just is like a safety, so you can't reach your hand in there and you just drop stuff in through a smaller chute. And it just grinds the fuck out of it and down into your big storage area, plastic bin, whatever. I mean, that's pretty ingenious. That's really what people need, and then they can put the teeth tine settings on different closenesses or however, and then like it'll grind it up, finer or not as fine by a percentage. So then like, you can download the recipe. Yeah, and like it'll, go to all of your smart kitchen appliances, and you just walk to the appliance that's glowing, and putting off sexy radiation. You just walk towards it like a moth to the slaughter, and it doesn't kill you. Instead, it has you take your fresh vegetables from your garden or robot garden or something with your auto hydroponics with like they like spray different mineral soils onto them, constantly the roots and something. Like, people are obsessed with that bullshit, so I might as well make that up too. But the point is, like, you take those vegetables and it chops it all up just right. Then all you gotta do is put it in your oven or on your stove, and all the rest is it's just auto cooked, and the spices are auto added. Imagine how easy that is. Even a fucking caveman could figure it out, right? Animals could do it. Your dog could do it for you. It could be trained. So that's our goal here, So then toddlers can make their mothers, breakfast, safely. Somehow. I don't know. We'll get to that. But, like, yeah, man, all this stuff, Barbie-licious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the movie doesn't come out till July, and, like, I was always encouraging, especially Barbie, for it to be 2 pieces with, like, an intermission. And we can just do it in the sequel, all the new Barbie stuff. Like, Barbie world can be advancing, and there can be new tech kitchen stuff, And, like, it's like the reverse of the Truman Show, Everybody's always talking excitedly about all the new inventions, because they're that cool. Let's see here. Also, yeah, how about a clip-on piece onto, my standard sized, tubs, like I'm saying, like my grinder is. You have a clip-on piece that has spinny, like amusement park ride where the whole thing kind of spins around in a circle in there, and then also it has the whippers that are oscillating or whatnot to get everywhere inside of there pretty good. So then it just rotates on a gear from the top ceiling down into whatever you want to mix down below. And it just gets it done. And you don't have to worry about reaching your hands in there. It's all sealed like as usual. And you can see in through the clear sides and see how good it's mixing your cream or your vegetables or whatnot. And, yeah, it can... I don't know what to say. Yeah, big old juicy kind of rubber polymery coated, you know, like metal mix that's actually like springy. Like stainless steel whisks are maybe a little too firm. You want it to be kind of a little bit more springy than that, maybe. With like, then it just goes in there and just in a pattern at different speeds just smacks all around in there and spins the tines together. And you have different tines you can put in there that are like finer, coarse, or like paddles for making ice cream. You know what I mean? Like infinite different things you can do here. So for like, you know, the ice cream setting, I guess, you might have to have like some sort of cooling. So you'd have to set maybe the whole tub into a second slightly larger tub that like seals into conveniently, that's like full of like cold ice that goes around it or something. Or cooler still, no, that's not modern enough. That's like something from the 50s that can be invented. I don't, fuck that. No, instead you get those like awesome dry ice, you know. And then it's like melted by like a you know, little melter hotspot, like a cigarette lighter, and then that's blown with super force around the external larger container like it's, you know, super cold gas. TM, you know, pay me and then fuck me. So then like it like that cold gas is swirling against the surface of the churning ice cream within and super cools it off and turns it into a delicious dessert at super speed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Awesome. I'm just so sick of seeing people hurt themselves on those 1920s through to 2020s fold over technology, giant, you know, red blood colored, you know, plastic or older style, whatever they used back then, like resin plastic, a lot of them still are to today. Like big mixer bowls with like overhead, you know, arm that lowers it. Oh, I hate those. So there you go. I invented the modern solution for that. Let's see here. Boy, I'm feeling pretty smart. I vomited up a lot of toxic hormones out of my kidneys a few hours ago. So let's see here. What else? Popcorn. You could have one that makes popcorn where like it's like kind of like a miniature you know, standard one at the movie theater that's all big and cool, or at like a tire store or something, or the fair. But like it's just miniature in your tub. And you have different depths of tubs, you know, you don't have to all have them the same height. So it could like be a little wire cage in there that your popcorn's set on. Then, you know, the top piece comes down, that's like the heated air, and it just, you know, heats the popcorn, and as it's exploding, it senses that and automatically like adds your oil, soybean oil, whatever official mixture you want that like goes along with whatever movie you're gonna watch at home, like on your 40X couch, like I said before. And like, you know, and you make your popcorn also in the same sort of tub, you know, top down like I'm saying. Then you can see it pop in there as it jumps up in its little basket and falls over the sides all perfectly buttered and salted, you know, from little slot grooves that auto added as it goes, from the top through. And then like you have that delicious high-end, you know, popcorn, soybean oil, whatever else smell going on in your house, like it's a movie theater for the evening. And that's what you want. You want the prestigious, you know, Barbie smells in your house lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Since I've suffered many a day in the kitchen, what else bothers me? Yeah, how about an actual slicer piece? Again, that goes in these tubs. Like, say you want to slice cheese or some sort of meat or whatnot, whatever it is. Or like your thick split pea soup that's turned into like a hard cake, you know. Who knows? To each their own. I like that kind of thing. Anyways, so the slicer, you know how you get to the end of like slicing a cheese block and that spinning blade can like slice the ends of your fingers off, and that feels so good. So instead, what if you like loaded your cheese block or whatever into, again, a piece connection that goes onto a tub like that size, and then like it just automatically like conveyor belt cranks it through, all from the piece attached from above, like with a belt that spins it slowly. And then within there, it has a little blade or laser or electric wire that goes up or down or whatever your preferred technology. And it just slicey, dicey dices, and each one falls down and is collected into the big tub below. So you can get some fucking industrial things cut, you know what I'm saying? As thin as you want. And if you don't want it to fall down to the tub all loose and make a mess, then it could just tumble right over into a lower collection tray that could, you know, be right below it, that like auto lines them up and stacks them or whatever. I don't know. That's pretty cool sounding, I think. Oh yeah, you know how everybody, you know, like French fries or potato chips, like, who the hell wants to like be a slave to like, you know, getting those at the store? Like, there were shortages, like they were short on potato chips and toilet papers on and off for years. Those are critical things, like everyone knows this. So like, instead of being ripped off and like trying to order potato chips online during Corona for like $10 a bag, which is outrageous, what if you just had your own robot, you know, greenhouse garden and whatnot, and you just felt all accomplished as you have your dogs, you know, take your potatoes over because you're too lazy, and like, you know, stick them in your kitchen for you and get rewarded by a robot that like teaches it to do new things and rewards it, you know, like dog learning programs from robots because you're all too fucking lazy to love your dogs. So let's see here. My brain's starting to heat up and I'm starting to feel hungry. This is a lot of thinking. Yeah, so like air frying, you know what I mean? Like, you could have another clip-on piece onto these same tubs, which are, you know, high-quality polymer. So then when that hot air rushes in onto the different drying racks, it can like have you know, mist injector that sprays, you know, oil in however often. And then it's just like constantly like fucking smashing it with, you know, that oil, and it's like heating it real good with like a, you know, heating setup that's above the fan. So the only thing that's getting through into the, you know, polymer thing that's, you know, safe to heat whatever degrees is like just the air that's rushing around. It's like air frying your chips. Then the excess oil can't sit there and stagnate in your fries or chips and like get that carcinogenic negative effect on your body, because the oil's always getting pushed out by the air and, you know, recycled through in that environment in there, and new oil can be put that's fresh, you know, as it like collects on the bottom a little bit, and then bam slam, thank you ma'am, and like, you know, who knows how long would that take to make a fresh batch of, you know, fries or chips? 10 minutes? I don't know. Air frying's pretty fast. So everything can be done at home, and like robot, you know, scenarios can be set up so you're fucking sitting on your living room couch and your smart, you know, mother fridge is like, yo, you need to eat, and then like it flashes up while you're watching your cartoons or whatever that's like Super Pets 25 that I invented still. Then like you're like, oh man, what do we eat? Then, like, the greenhouse automatically, like, tells you how ripe different produce is out back, you know, connected through to your garage or whatever the fuck you guys want. So you still feel suburbanite. And then, like, you know, that's an option. Or, like, things that are on sale at the store, you know, not discounted, because who gives a fuck about price in the future, but just what's the new hot thing that's popular or just got shipped in from, you know, some farmer's field who, like, grew a new color of something that everyone wants to try in a new designer dish, you know, from whatever artistic chef celebrity, and all this can boom bam happen all at once, you know. The chefs can work with the fucking farmers, like, because I am a farmer chef, so I'm awesome that way. And, like, we can get it all laid out so that people can get their fucking distributed, sexy, custom, you know, healthy meals, so they feel like, you know, they're part of trends and part of being up with the times and, you know, getting ready for watching that new movie that's all about sexy vampire women, while, like, eating extra beets so they'll see the new screens that the theater's offering even clearer. And so, like, you know, they need those new purple-black beets from that field in Bosnia. So, you know, those got to be shipped around the world quickly. You got to have underwater tubes between continents for trains, and for even faster, just shooting, like, produce and shit that, like, can survive, you know, because it's not, you know, doesn't have a beating heart or anything under the surface to super speeds. Like, you know, you could just, you know, have those drone jets, you know, that go up into the upper atmosphere, up above by the ionosphere. Then they just whoosh along at, you know, 10,000 miles an hour. And that's probably, you know, going to be cheaper in the far future because nobody gives a shit. That's the way to do it. But, you know, message tubes underwater, that sounds good for a movie, you know, that's pretty funny. Let's see here. Yeah, so then, you know, you can have your custom air-fried, sliced, you know, beet chips in your processor at home. And, then you say, oh, man, the movie is, you know, I don't feel good opening night. I'm going to have to watch it at home and rush to, you know, use the toilet because I got diarrhea and don't want to go out in public because I'm fucking sick. Then people just stay at home and they just sit on their 40X couch and it rumbles their little butts and they, you know, wear their advanced, you know, anti-poop diapers so they don't ruin their 40X couches even if they are poop wicking. You know, then everybody can feel, you know, safe from whatever they need to and have their technology at home and eat it too, you know? Like, also, yeah, like, I just was thinking about it. You know how there's, like, really airy cakes? What if you had injectors that were, like, injecting gas out of, like, little metal, like, tubes, like bike needles up through the cake from the bottom of the pan? So then it's like making the cake inflate as it bakes strategically. Man, that sounds awesome. Yeah, so then you don't have to use Ryzen. You can pick whatever gas mixture it's recommended for the recipe, and then it's just injected by your oven on the lowest shelf or whatever or something, or in your custom small, I don't know, however it would be done. You know, you got butane, carbon, whatever mix injected up into your cake so it inflates up all huge in your sealed cake oven setup. So then you can have a big, towering, ridiculous, like, flubby cake that doesn't collapse easily, that you can let cool in there and get out, and then it's all stable. You know, then you can have silly wedding cakes that are all huge to a degree, like it's fondant, because, yeah, gas technology right into your baking. I always wanted it, and now we can make it a reality. You know, aerate your cakes with a bunch of needles up through the pan, you know, putting tiny bits of gas in there that, yeah, awesome. Let's see here. What else do I want to be able to do instantly easier in my kitchen? Let's see. Clean the floors. How about like better Roombas that like have like concentrated cleaning, natural oils and concentrates and stuff, and then it like actually like mops it a little bit with like wet as it goes around, and it's like a little bit bigger. Then like your cats don't destroy it when they sit on it either. It's a little bit stronger. And it just, really fucking, laser examines that floor and really cleans it off, And then it can go back to its corner and put on a different attachment, like scrubber brush and like, or whatever it needs. Like come back and clean off your like dirty, black shoe marks on the floor or whatever. It can have its different attachments, and be a smart little Roomba sucko. Let's see here. Yeah, then you can like have that pine oil really polish your sexy floor, and everything can shine constantly like you're in a Mr. Clean commercial. Like the Roomba could like, I'm trying to think, like lasers, could that dry? Like you can have fans that blow through the Roomba and like, actually dry the floor after it cleans it, or it could have some sort of actual, layers of thin cloth that are high tech that actually store a bunch of dirty stuff, and those could be like sucked into position one after another that are like reloaded in the top, and then it like after it cleans a spot on the floor, then it like wipes it across with a track belt of that like super good material, and then it like actually cleans and polishes it as it like puts down like suction plugs and goes and like polishes the fuck out of your floor in a circle right in the spot before like picking up like a sexy motherfucker like alien crab and moving to the next section where you dropped your food last night. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Then it can like go super robot mode. You know how there's like those custom, like, I've been to lots of people's houses, forced air cleaner that like goes to their garage and has a big vacuum. Well, like your Roomba could like have a tube that it auto connects to into its butt, like backs up to under your kitchen counters and everywhere like normal. Then it just goes out with like an extendo tube, like extendo hose, garden hose, but like higher quality, like they can make space age technology, so it can like expand to whatever length of like 10 or 20 feet. It doesn't need to be that long even, and then it can move around enough and like really super suction that floor if it needs to. That's what I'm talking about. Also, we need a Roomba attachment where it can like serve you drinks from the fridge and stuff. So like, everybody wants that. So like you have your fridge vending machine that auto deals with your stuff. So it can like, put down onto your Roomba with its serving tray that like grabs the drinks, your like actual, green label Coca-Cola with real coca leaves, it's being sold all over but not here around the world. I'm really angry about. Like you can have those slide right out of your fridge like it's a 1920s commercial, all modern, right onto your Roomba like it's, their future they saw coming because my dick's that big. Then it just, Roombas right on over through the rooms to your room. And, like, you could have a dumbwaiter, I guess, if you needed to for your Roomba. And it could, porch monkey deliver it to another level. Let's see here. Yeah, so then, like, you can have your, whatnot delivered to your couch so you can eat your lazy-ass food. Let's see here. Better treadmill. How about like a big hamster ball that like you can run in any direction and it like has big rollers that compensate? So like it's like also like squishy, so you like run in any direction, and it's like also VR in there, and there's like lasers that are projecting onto the ball on all sides onto like the squishy glass you're inside of. So like, you know, with like surround sound in there too. So it's like you're in a fucking war game, or you're playing Mario platforming and you are the Mario and you're running around, you know. It's like a more advanced thing of what, like, you know, already exists, where you're strapped into that thing at your waist and you sprint around on the little curved grooved platform thing. Your feet slide down that's below you. Well, it's like the more advanced version of that. Definitely want to see that, you know. That reminds me, supposedly some chiropractor in Utah that I never got to go to because I'm over here. He has like some big spinny thing that like spins you upside down and oscillates you around at a rhythm. Like it's a big Zorb ball, but you're not inside of anything. It's just like you're strapped to like one of those teeter-totter platforms where they turn you upside down. But instead it like moves you around in like a big ball with some sort of... I don't know how it does it. I haven't even seen it. But maybe I'm just inventing it now and everyone's full of shit and they just want me to invent things. So anyways, that's pretty cool. So like you could use that same, you know, gamer ball that I'm talking about for that. Like you could have a insert piece that then you could flip upside down and have it rock around and loosen your spine as you hang upside down or whatever in there in different ways. That's pretty cool, you know. That'd be pretty sweet. I mean, imagine running around that ball with like your you know, polymer guns you're holding that look all sweet and multicolored, you know, printed out from your garage, you know, with the new print pack you got for 5 cents from some artist, you know. And then you're holding that gun that's all rainbow colored and custom in your hand that you printed, like, and you're like running around shooting zombies that are like projecting at you from your Zorb ball, you know what I mean? And your heart's racing, and like it's the modern day, and like you don't worry about what your pastor's saying about how much fun you're having or your dead grandma. You just keep having more fun every second, you know what I mean? I already talked about the story I'm writing. Everybody, you know, they always spy on my literature that I write over the decades. So this one, everybody's probably already designing it busily for the last few weeks, like bucktooth beavers. That motorcycle design in my, you know, sex movie script I'm writing right now for Mel. I don't know. I assume he's the one for the role. Like Future's just rolling around because he looks right. Anyways, in that movie, there'll be futuristic motorbikes that the spokes on the two wheels that are kind of fat are like multiple levels of like, you know, fan blades. So then like they all spin custom and like balance and push through like it's a supercharger like drone that transforms. Like you go off a huge jump, you know, over water, and then like you transform the light bike with modern like polymer strength points so it's really light around underneath you, up into above you as those fans activate because the wheels are already spinning at super speed from you going along the ground, and then they like turn into the propellers as you're just like holding onto the cage bar below that, which is all safely tucked up above that so you can't like hurt your arms, and you're just hanging there like you're Fortnite floating around, you know, and then you're just like chilling, brah, you know what I mean? And you can like then like go to whatever height and like, you know, like turn back into a motorcycle and go back down the jump, you know. That's pretty cool, you know, and like make it like sort of waterproof too, you know. And this can surely, you know, kill people if they aren't, you know, modern polymer boned like, you know, I hope to be soon fully. You know, people are gonna have to take more damage to survive all the awesome toys and gadgets in the future. You know, it's gonna be like one of those horror movies from the 1800s about how they have technology then that's shocking, but that everybody hides now. But just wait till the future, Johnny. Just wait till 2050. Wait till even 2025. You know, that's what's so funny about all these movies. Everybody knew fucking full well, based on different factors I'm not going to get into, when technology would be allowed to advance by corporation men who are getting too old and dead to stop it. So yeah, we're getting to that point. It's right on schedule, you know. So stupid stuff like this, there'll be no, safety council to say it never comes out anywhere but, North Korea, where everybody's extra rich and fat and pretending like they're enslaved or something. No more of that. Just, cheap stuff that, parts of it can even be printed out at home, Like there'll be more advanced polymer printers that are you can make most of your bike out of, Everything can be printed, Just have big tanks of print gel or whatever, however it's contained. Yeah, let's see here. In my story, they're like hardcore motherfuckers that like eat horse semen all day, so like they're like going over pine trees off of huge jumps, that were made by auto backhoes as they like turn back and forth into like propeller mode and fly around between the trees and stuff like awesome boys and off of cliffs and stuff, That's what I'd do if I felt perfect in the future. So there's like no danger, but like it just feels like you're gonna die maybe. Let's see here. Like I was just, I'm thinking, how you came up with that role for Keanu Reeves into Marvel. Well, like, he needs to be like modern Neo version of Ghost Rider or something, He needs to have high tech like this, like transformative motorcycles and stuff, That'd be a pretty cool way to show it off as well. Because I like, him, because he's like actually too Northern Pacific to like be as much of a bastard as everybody else. You see how he like has little boy excitement and that like turns on all the women and gets their titties rock hard. So like he's a fan favorite and he's a good way to promote future tech. So that sounds pretty good. But whatever. I'm not intruding on other people's scripts. I'm just randomly saying connections that come to my head. But back to the kitchen bullshit. Like your pantry, man. Like, see, like my pantry, it like is a mess. Like, you gotta like store stuff. There's just shelves, they're tall enough, and then they're kind of too deep, and then stuff gets lost. So like, how about pantries with actually, it just comes normal. That like the shelves you buy for pantries like glow, Like why do we need like wooden or compressed bullshit material shelves? Why can't they in and of themselves like glow and be intelligent? Then like, you get something off the shelf at the store, and the store's like, oh yes, that person has bought that automatically, but that who cares about money? So like it's just about inventory. So then like you go home and you like set it in your pantry, and then it like indicates where it should go, an arrangement of different types of designs of orderliness with other spices you've also bought or whatever bulk stuff you have in there, and then like it like glows to indicate where you need to like set the stuff to keep it organized, and like shows like the exact outline of where you'd set down the container in the spot, that type of stuff. So like it's all simple and easy. I don't know. That's the most advanced way I can think of it, with the future of, Google Glasses, grocery stores and everything. That sounds pretty majestic, I got some, busty Russian neighbors that act strange. They have a long pantry in their house that like would do well with what I'm saying here, and they're obsessed with modern stuff, so it just made me think about it because they had a pantry that was shaped that way. It would really benefit from that, because man, like, I'm so sad. Pickles, they should be healthy. They gotta stop putting calcium chloride and stuff in every pickles. But if you could like, again, have a way of canning your own pickles, again with that same setup with the tub and the attachment piece on top, you could like set your can in there and like process the food down into it with whatever top processor piece, and then like have it like heated and sealed in there one at a time, and then you just like lift it open easy and take out each jar that's like a wide mouth, you know, quart jar or whatever, and then it like seals your garden's pickles right in there as it is all done. You know, you just pour in the recommended amount of whatever liquids, you know, as your cell phone tells you to do it, you know, or whatever. As you have expert chefs' voices, you know, saying how you should do it with their special inflections on their words, so you know, really know you're doing it right. So then it just auto, like, puts the lid onto those pickles or whatever you're pickling inside of the tub, and really seals in that while it's hot. And like sucks the pressure out all at once, all advanced, you know. Then like it's like auto sealed in there, and like really does a good job like a factory, you know. And then you can just do that one jar after another, you know. Then you can, you know, go to an actual farmer's market where everyone has accomplished all different stuff with their gardens that is different than other people, and they can trade around their jars of different foods and stuff and everything, and it can be a wholesome lifestyle, unlike what I've had to experience at farmers markets with all their out-of-state illegal vegetable selling and their random drunk people accosting everyone and their, you know, shady sellers, you know, that, you know, don't actually live in the area that are somehow getting into the... I don't know what's up with all the farmers markets, man. Like, here's the other thing. There's, like, no organization based on category. You know how, like, in the old days, like, in my Ancient Chinese movie I'm going to show off, like, there's bazaars of all different types of goods, and they're, like, sectioned out a little more correctly so that, like, you can find what you're looking for and people can, like, sell to you what you want. Because, like, at the farmer's market, like... What? The ones in Boise, you got like random booths mixed in with other stuff that are like, you know, people, you know, knitting stuff, you know, with assistance of auto knitting a little bit. Then they're doing custom embroidery and stuff, so it's cute and custom and better. Like maybe how my booties were made. So then it's like a little better than just something from the factory, from the store. You know, a little bit of humanity went into it. That's pretty cool, but like... it all needs to be, like, color coordinated. Like, there needs to be, like, logic to this. There needs to be, like, farmer's market, like, laser colors that, like, tell people they're in, like, the green, like, vegetable section, you know? And, like, you know, that's the specialty that you're going to be experiencing in that number of booths. And, like, I don't know. Like, I could go on and on and on, like, with the quality of... sun shielding for like soccer teams that are off waiting to go in the game, or like at farmers markets to shield you from the sun. You gotta have your little tent that you're selling from underneath of. I'm so confused by all of that. Like, the first thing that pops into my mind is, like, you know how I've always wanted a camper, but these camper shells just aren't sold, you have to understand. Those are special. So on the vein of camper shells, what if you could go to your, you know, farmer's market or whatever you call it with your, because I'm just so frustrated with farmer's markets. Like your camper shell on the back. So then, like, your back area, back there's refrigerated, and there's, like, sliding shelves in there that, like, clip onto the camper or onto, like, in between where the camper and the bed meets. So you, like, slide it all in and out from the back of the truck to the, up by the cab, you know, to the rear tailgate. So you don't have to be, like, struggling or anything. Everything slides in and out real easy, and is easily refrigerated with just the simple, you know, even... dry ice setup, like I was saying, just loads into a certain spot, and then, like, you know, fans just blow on it as it warms up and blows that gas around in there or whatever. And there's all kinds of gases that you can make dry ice out of, And, you know, you can even make it with more of some other type of gas combined with one hydrogen particle so that, like, it actually stays moist and doesn't, like, damage the vegetables or anything. So you don't have to worry about sealing everything as much. You know, stuff that I've always whined about my whole life, as everyone just ignores me. And eventually, you know, you see people, you know, delivering to the Boise Co-op or something, with, like, a sort of like, you know, how they have those Amazon vans now. Well, they sort of have refrigerated vans with weird shelves, like it's a bread van. You can, like, walk in there and get stuff from either side with a middle aisle or something. Different stuff like that. But, like, that's not very space savory and awesome-y and, like, tech forward yet, you know, simple, like my design I'm coming up with right now. Because, like, everybody wants to feel like a Native American farmer from the beginning of time, you know, with not many thoughts, who's bringing their, you know, blue painted, round-fendered pickup truck down to somewhere. They just want that feeling because they're faggots. And, you know, if you're actually the genetics, then you call them faggots, but, you know, you have to facilitate their desires, because otherwise they'll get rebellious and start turning into criminal activities. So, yeah, instead everybody just, yeah, also in my story, like, my characters in my sex story that had, you know, those motorcycles, they, like, live, like, right on the edge of, like, a steep hill mountain somewhere, you know, in Washington or Oregon, you know, the mountains that go down to the coast forever there. So, like, in my story, they got their whole horse barn set up, you know, amongst the trees across the top of the mountain into the distance. And then they got, like, the ability to just go on, like, a actual ski lift, like, enclosed cab zip line down, like it's Whoville, past other houses that they themselves are completely enclosed and muffled by different types of trees thickly down the mountainside. You see how much easier it is for me to just talk about everything like this instead of trying to write it as a story? Man, that's exhausting. Then I can add the inflection and everybody gets it immediately. So, like, they don't expect me to have perfect fancy words because I'm entertaining them with my juxtapositioning of my tongue on the syllables. So, like, yeah, that's how I always wanted to live, amongst the forest, like you're a modern elf with, like, technology. Like, I guess I could show that off in my Lord of the Rings, you know, porn project I'm planning for the next, come out in a few years. You know, that would be pretty cool. You could show off elves, you know, kind of living that way a little bit, their convenience. Because everybody always acts like they want to live up onto the sides of mountains overlooking valleys. And they don't have any good reasons. Like, they're just lame asses. Like, for example, I grew up in Utah Valley area there, and there's, you know, a huge lake there, and there's people living all around to different sides. And it always really disappointed me because, you know, I'm Mr. Genius, and I was like, why can't we have those lakes that are in all the valleys naturally on this planet? Why couldn't that flat, glassy surface, like, because we went to, you know, where the lithium is generated off of the lake, that huge lake up there by the California-Oregon border last year, the year before we went over there, and it's, like, flat as a mirror, like, no ducks land on it much. I mean, they do, but the lithium within the water makes, like, it keeps it calm. So, like, that was pretty cool, and, like, the ethereal mist coming up would look really cool with laser displays. So you could do an awesome, like, music video or something there, I was thinking, in the future. But that's beside the point, because I'm just dragging over those thoughts over to, if everyone's living on the mountainside, you could have, like, drones or laser towers or whatnot. Create a presentation for everyone living up the sides of mountains, you know, like how I'm saying, with privacy and yet, you know, friendly neighbors, however distant. They can all look down out of their convenient living room windows at the giant lake in the valley, and it can be like their living room screen. Just imagine it. You know, all the technology, you know, you can go into lasers on the surface of the giant water expanse, you know. And hell, you can even have drones like scare off the birds in the evening so like they don't disturb it with ripples too much. I mean, think about that though. Like a scene where like it's like raining in the scene, like you could have little disturbances of the lake happen. Like tiny drones like touch the water and make it like look like the whole surface was raining, you know. Custom or something, you know. That's just an idea. But yeah, with the laser refracted light and underneath, overhead, you know, mist you can roll out over the lake easily for like 3D projected scenes of battles and stuff. Like, come on, people. I'm trying to tell you, when I said science fantasy on the back of my biography about Gregory Mason, I wasn't joking. He's inspiring to me. I wrote a story because he is Emperor Gregor, the first through everything, and he lived a long time. And he had many such ideas, and this is one of them. This is one of his ideas. And you see, only in ancient China was this ever employed, and everybody's so jealous that, I don't know why, because they could employ it now. They just don't want to. They don't want to be that cool. There's all those effects. They feel so alive, you know. Then they don't want to be drug dealers anymore. They're just so inspired by what humanity can achieve, you know. So let's get back to those heights and avoid the depths. Unless, you know, you want to go exploring in a submarine under the ocean and see glowy sea cucumbers in deep ocean vents. I mean, that's your prerogative. We need all kinds of technology. You know? Like, for example, you could have glass viewing domes from underneath of the lake, at the bottom of the lake, where you look up through the clear water, however deep, you know, 20 feet, 100 feet, I don't know, and it could be all lit so that you could view the movie from underneath the lake as well, up that direction from reverse. And, yeah, I'm awesome, because that sounds fucking awesome. I like the idea of that. I don't know if anyone has ever done that. Oh, wait, they have. You see, in my, movie I'm coming up with, about the Egyptian tomb under the water there in the Middle East, that's a concept of that Egyptians used to do that. They'd have grandiose projects with bigger and bigger lakes across the area of Africa up into other areas that would do that. They would project like from glass crystal points at the center of the lake, like up from there out at the surface, and like create displays for people to watch. You know what I mean? And man, fish really like that. They love the all that energy going through the water. They you know, swim all over the place frantically. Then you can like have like, you know, glowy, you know, sea moss stuff that you like electrolyze. I don't know. This is just an idea. That like makes the moss glow different colors. How you electrify it to like create kind of like dithered pixels, you know, to create the scene better. So all I'm saying is nature, like in one of those Disney cartoons where like you gotta kiss the girl and like all the animals are assisting. That's me. Okay, I'm science fantasy. We'll get this done. The animals will be stupid, and they will assist the technology in various ways to making a better presentation with my, you know, lake screen technology. Yeah. I mean, that's so cool that, yeah, you can imagine that. Like, you know, bears are like fishing or whatever, then they can like look down at the lake and like see techniques on how to fish better, you know, projected in the lake, because people like are like disappointed the bear sucks at like, you know, fishing, you know, and they like have drones watching it or whatever, you know? Like, you know, instead of spying on your neighbors, you could like actually spy on nature and like actually watch your babies learning to walk, you know? Let's see. I taste iron in my spit. That's weird. Like, yeah, imagine, like, yeah, swooping over a lake, you know, on your motorcycle while, like, it's, like, projecting an entire movie below you, like, of different stuff, you know? Like, you know, they could turn into a giant crocodile that lunges up to eat you all spooky or something, you know? That's the future. Also, I talked about this a long time ago. I might as well get into this. I had this concept that, you know, I would do the ultimate rock concert in the future once I'm ready to make my own music and with my own synthesizers and everything I've invented. So then I can be bigger, you know, bigger than Michael Jackson and Prince put together, you know? Like my DNA can surpass my daddy's, you know what I mean? So then, like, I can, like, have, like, you know, mountains, you know, around that, like, have big speaker arrays set up that, like, bounce with, like, concave points, hollow, like, drum points of sound. You know how, like, you can yell to your friend across a wide expanse at a wall that's curved, and then it goes across a while and hits their wall that's curved, and they hear you, like, the sound goes back down at you? Like, if you had a bunch of those on a mountain, you know, that's steep over a number of mountains surrounding, like, a concert, then you can, like, you know, actually have the reverberation, you know, of the speakers be in the mountains themselves, baby. Yeah, I talked about that in, like, 2016 when I was bored forever. As 76 trillion years ticked by. Yeah, I had other ideas in connection to that at the time. I don't really remember right now. But yeah, I didn't come up with at that time that lake idea. So that would be cool with a concert too, you know? You know, when it comes to, like, you know, airplanes taking off and landing, that seems to be the most dangerous point of the whole operation. So, like, what if we just canceled that? And like I said, you know how airplanes, they've already admitted they're super light. They can put different types of, you know, particles of light gas in there and make the plane really light, so, you know, it's pretty floaty. And then it's kind of like a compressed gas blimp airplane. That's the modern design. And I don't know why. I haven't seen a documentary on this. I've seen very little details. But you see planes kind of floating in the air. No, they're not always demon apparitions. Sometimes they're actually just a modern plane. So why do planes have to fucking do that at all that dangerous coming in and landing at high speed shit down their runway? What if they just came floating in and, like, set down gently somehow, you know? Like, I'm just saying, like, maybe onto a surface of runway that has a little bit of water or something for extra safety. I don't know. You know, like, that's how people used to do it in the olden days. Like, everybody used to fly. Like, you ready, guys? Ready to be once again shocked by, you know, how ancient you're all living? You see, everybody used to fly, you know, seaplanes or whatever that had those big floaties. And you see, those floaties also had, you know, highly compressed floaty gas. So, it's really safe feeling compared to these modern airplanes where, you know, you just come flying in. Like, I've seen multiple exploded aircrafts on the tarmac. Luckily, it wasn't my airplane any of the times. Just smoking, just, you know, bones that are, you know, on fire, you know, just ejected in all directions from the plane, you know, smoking, flying hundreds of miles. No, okay, I'm exaggerating. But, you know, it's disgusting to behold. I've seen it. I've seen it too much. It needs to stop. I hate it. It's this mentality like people are piggy and they only sort of like go on vacation when they're sick and dying. And then they're just kind of invading another country and they're angry the other country has a different culture than them. And that's all I've seen happening. It needs to stop. And part of that mentality is they don't really care how shitty and primitive the airplanes are. They're full of asbestos, you know. They're leaking air. They're falling out of the sky. Who really cares? They've blown up all over the place, you know, around here too, as dirty immigrants try to come in here that are out coughing and have illegal diseases that aren't allowed to cross international borders, as the CDC and everybody else squawks louder and louder, and then Donald Trump and everyone else just shuts the fuck up as they give up, as they're too sick to give a shit anymore. As criminals are just non-stop propagandized on YouTube for a decade like I said they would in 2012. 2012 isn't the end of the world. It's the end of the sanity of the world for a decade. And so, you know, we're starting to get back to some sanity as people have finally learned to get over some cancer and put on their brass knuckles and punch the right people in the face, you know. We're starting to get some sanity returning. Ugh, yes. Look at this awesome map he's creating. Man, I wondered where they got all of that, you know, jealousy energy in the past to, you know, have people supposedly draw stuff while someone talks and convinces you of their product. Well, here you go. I'm pretty sweaty and exhausted, so I'm not going to talk anymore. I think I'm done for now. Ugh.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't keep up with anything you were fucking saying. I have no idea what you're even saying anymore.
Of course not.